Dear fellow Singaporeans and the voters of East Coast GRC and Fengshan SMC, a very good evening to all of you. How are you feeling today? That's nice to hear. My name is Gurmit Singh, and I am the Workers' Party candidate for the Nee Soon GRC. We feel greatly honored to have so many of you here wanting to listen to what we have to say. We know that your vote is precious to you, and you want to be certain that you would only use it for the right person and the right party to be sent into Parliament. It will have to be for the persons and the party that can and will listen to you more and make your lives better. Dear friends, a member of Parliament is first and foremost your representative, your voice in Parliament. His or her main task should be to understand your needs, your concerns, and your problems. Only if he or she can fully understand these concerns can he or she then speak for you in Parliament. It is sad to know that some of our senior PAP politicians are still scratching their heads, not knowing why Singaporeans are so angry with them. Maybe, just maybe, they should shave their heads bald so they can scratch it better. And just maybe they might be able to understand what is hurting Singaporeans so badly. Only if accurate feedback from Singaporeans can be collected and not that which is finely filtered through a rose-tinted glass, the PAP politicians seem to be receiving through their eyes and ears on the ground, giving them the impression that everything is perfectly fine and that Singaporeans are being unhappy for no reason. Will then the feedback that is being received be of any use? When policies are being passed, which seem to go against the wishes of all Singaporeans, a member of Parliament can then question the minister on the policies. He or she can make the minister work harder at explaining why such a policy is needed and how it will benefit Singaporeans. Such serious questioning and robust debate on issues can only happen with enough opposition members of Parliament. When the PAP says they can be their own check and balance, they would have you believe that they listen to the concerns of their own MPs. That may be the case for issues that most sensible Singaporeans can agree on. But my fellow Singaporeans, on the big issue of immigration, an issue that has been troubling us in so many ways due to the strain on our infrastructure and our resources, which seem to be creaking at the seams, the PAP leadership has chosen time and again to ignore even their own MPs. In 1999, former PAP MP Mr. Tan Cheng Bock spoke in Parliament and told the PAP that it should tone down the emphasis on foreign talent and ask the government to think Singaporeans first. What was the result? Mr. Tan Cheng Bock was rebuked and ignored by the PAP leadership for his views. In 2003, when our senior party leader, Mr. Low Thia Khiang, was one of only 2 opposition MPs in Parliament, he also spoke up against the unrestrained influx of immigrants into Singapore. He was concerned if these immigrants were merely cheap replacements for our highly educated workforce and wondered if Singaporeans had been shortchanged by these so-called foreign talents. Yet the PAP ministers continued to choose to ignore these views. You might remember that Mr. Immigrants Singh of the PAP spoke passionately against the population white paper for 6.9 million in 2013. Well, my friends, when it came to vote on the population white paper, Mr. Singh decided to absent himself from voting. No PAP MP voted against the population white paper. But all of our Workers' Party MPs in Parliament voted against the white paper. Thank you. My dear friends, the PAP was able to carry the day in Parliament and adopt the white paper as government policy because of its overwhelming parliamentary majority. The objection to the policy by a mere 7 Workers' Party MPs may not have been strong enough for the PAP to reconsider its policy. My fellow Singaporeans, has the PAP government really ever listened to us? If pretending to be stone deaf or intentionally shutting out our noises is not bad enough, they seem to be equally blind too. Mr. Goh Chok Tong had been quoted in the press many years ago when he was the Prime Minister. I quote, "Our old were not like motor cars and cannot be treated as old motor cars. They are ourselves," unquote. He went on to say that he had pledged to Singaporeans that whatever the difficulties, the government would not abandon the aged of Singapore. My friends, has the government kept its pledge? They now choose to turn a blind eye to the miseries of our elder folks who had a large hand in building the Singapore we have inherited and call our home. In fact, if we go by his analogy of old motor cars, seems like our old motor cars enjoy a better fate than our elderly. Some of our used cars are known to have been exported to neighboring countries and given a new lease of life when they become the pride and joy of a new owner. On the other hand, our elderly had spent their best years helping to build our nation. Thereafter, those who are not well off, not sufficiently well prepared for retirement, or do not have family support, spend their last few productive years cleaning tables, working in fast food outlets, or collecting cardboard boxes or tin cans, or selling tissues. If they are no longer useful even in these areas, and families are unable to afford the high cost of elder care facilities, these families have the option of sending them to JB nursing homes, a solution recommended by our very capable PAP politicians. This situation, my dear friends, has led us to where we are today. We know that much of the misery we face on a daily basis in Singapore arose from policies which were not questioned or debated thoroughly in Parliament in the past due to a lack of a sufficient and effective opposition representation. Especially when it comes to the immigration policy, we want the ruling party to listen harder to us as it is affecting us badly in so many ways. What the Workers' Party is proposing is a sensible immigration policy. We want to stabilize the population of foreign manpower so that we can focus on growing the numbers of Singaporeans working and upgrading their skills. Through our interaction with residents who approach us during the Meet the People sessions and other avenues, we understand the hardship that many Singaporeans who marry foreign spouses face. We want an immigration policy that puts Singaporean families first, and that is why we want foreign spouses of Singaporeans to be given priority for citizenship naturalization. We only want those immigrants who have strong ties to Singapore to become citizens, and that is why we want permanent residents to have at least 5 years of uninterrupted residency in Singapore to be able to be citizens. My dear fellow Singaporeans, if you agree with us that the only way to make the PAP really sit up and listen to Singaporeans and stop treating us as mere economic digits is by having more opposition MPs in Parliament. Come this 11th of September, use that precious vote of yours. Send more of us from the Workers' Party into Parliament, and we promise to work with you to empower your future. Thank you.